Kia has been killing it in the electric vehicle space ever since 2022 with the original EV6, and the company continues to expand on the EV family with this vehicle. I'm here on the show floor of the 2025 New York International Auto Show, and this right here is the first ever 2026 Kia EV4. Let's take a first look. Now, before we start talking about the very unique styling of this Kia EV4, let me first go ahead and talk about what's going on underneath the hood. Now, unlike the EV6 and EV9, this vehicle, as you can see, does not have a front trunk storage space, and that's because this is designed to be at a lower price point. In fact, this vehicle actually runs on the 400-volt architecture system, which is kind of interesting to see Kia kind of downgrade that, so it's not as fast charging. But what you're looking at here essentially is one electric motor. So all EV4s are going to have just a single electric motor powering the front wheels, delivering 201 horsepower total. Now, you can take your pick between two different battery sizes here in America, either a 58 kilowatt hour battery pack or an 81.4 kilowatt hour battery pack. Kia says the smaller battery pack should be good for around 230 miles of range, while the bigger battery pack should be good for around 330 miles of range. So again, those are pretty class competitive range figures, right up there, of course, with the Tesla Model 3. That's essentially what Kia is targeting with this vehicle. I am surprised to see that there is no all-wheel drive dual motor variant. Perhaps that version will come at some point. But overall, as you can see, underneath here, you don't get that front trunk storage space, but you do have a pretty decent amount of power considering, what this vehicle is going to compete with. But let's go ahead and close up the hood here and talk about the very, very controversial styling. Now, first of all, in Korea, Kia actually debuted this car in a sedan and a hatchback form. Sadly, here in America, we're only getting the sedan because apparently Americans hate hatchbacks, even though over there's the K4 hatch. So I kind of wish Kia would offer the hatch as well. But as you can see, in terms of the styling, we have the full front here of their opposites united design themes. First of all, you have these very stacked full LED headlights with the dual cube design to them. You have a distinctive looking LED daytime running light, although it's not the amber illumination like you find in some other models. These are, again, full LED headlights that kind of flows into the no grill design. Again, this is supposed to have like a variation of Kia's Tiger Nose grill without the actual grill. There are some functional openings down there, I believe, with some active air shutters. You can see front camera system, well-integrated parking sensors. I don't know what this color is called, but it certainly is a very interesting look. There's a very characteristic sweep of this design, and that's because Kia says this vehicle has a very slippery 0.23 coefficient of drag. So that's going to help, again, improve the efficiency, improve the range. So that's exactly why the vehicle looks as it does with the very distinctive slope on the front end. Now, moving around the rest of the profile, Kia will offer this vehicle in three different trims: the light, the wind, and this GT line. The GT line is going to be the more sportier option. You can see the wheels on this model are unique to the GT line. They are at 19-inch design. So Kia says you can take your pick between either a 17 or this 19-inch wheel on a relatively skinny 215/50 R19 tire. So I'm assuming these narrow tires are all about the efficiency. You have an all-independent suspension, McPherson struts in the front, multi-link design at the rear. You can see the GT line also has the gloss black along the wheel arch trim. It has a very short front overhang, and that's because, again, there's no need for an engine. This is a fully electric vehicle. And then as you can see over here is the charge port door that reveals the NAC plug. Now, because it runs on the 400-volt architecture, this doesn't charge as fast as the other E-GMP vehicles. So Kia says on a level 3 fast charger, you can go from 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes. So it's going to take around 18 or 12 minutes longer versus an EV6, for example, so kind of keep that in mind. The rest of the design, you can see there's a gloss black side mirror here with cameras, integrated turn signals. There's also a blacked out A-pillar here to kind of create a floating roof design. You can see there's the panoramic style sunroof, where the roofline in general has a very squared off appearance to it. In fact, this is probably the most ungainly angle for me. I don't love the way this car looks from this side, and that's because, again, the sedan is longer versus the hatchback model. Now, Kia says this vehicle has a 111-inch long wheelbase with an overall length of around 186 inches long. So this is about the same size as the Kia EV4 sedan. So the sedan is already on the longer end for the class. This is about the same length as like a Tesla Model 3, so kind of keep that in mind. Now, looking at the rear, you can see the design is even more peculiar from back here, but let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. There's a very large rear window back here, and there's kind of this blacked out area that kind of creates this like almost separation between the rear trunk lid and the taillights. You can see the taillights themselves, they kind of mimic what we see on the front with the floating or with the stacked LED design, the new Kia badge there along with the GT line logo. You can see the GT line also gets a more aggressive rear bumper area. And then if you want to look at the cargo space, you can see Kia didn't have those final figures for us just yet, but look at that opening for that trunk, guys. You can see it's a very wide, large opening, and if I had to guess, this probably has around 16 cubic feet of storage space. That's pretty good. The seats do fold down in a 60-40 arrangement. And then if you look underneath here, there is a little bit of underfloor storage, which is good because there's no storage space in the front trunk area. So overall, even though this is the sedan, not my preferred body style, it does have a pretty practical trunk for a compact size sedan. Now moving on to the interior of this 2026 Kia EV4. First of all, if you guys have spent some time in the latest crop of Kia products, that door actually has a really nice solid sounding thunk because remember, this is built on the E-GMP architecture. The technology in this car is certainly going to be pretty familiar. You're going to find here basically a wall of screens that measures nearly 30 inches. And that's because you have a 12.3 inch display here in the instrument panel. You have a 5-inch climate display here in the middle. And then over here, you have a 12.3 inch cluster that basically runs on their latest CNCC software, which includes wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, over-the-air software updates. It's pretty similar, of course, to their Kia EV9, their flagship electric vehicle. In terms of the materials, this model that we're showing you is the GT line, and it has these specific seats. First of all, I love the two-tone look that Kia is doing with the black lower and the white upper with the GT line embossed in the actual seat back. I also love this kind of insert that they give it. These seats are also heated and ventilated. And on my side here, I do have a 10-way power driver's seat with 2-person memory and again, actual hard buttons to control the heat and ventilation and the heated steering wheel. In terms of the door panel materials, there's a soft touch injection molded plastic here with this kind of silver painted door handle plastic. Nice padded area over here, and there's like a little nice grab handle with some pretty high quality window controls. Only the front windows are express one touch up and down. And then looking at the steering wheel, this is Kia's latest steering wheel with a flat bottom and a flat top design. It has a two-tone look. I don't love the Kia logo that's off-center to the side, but the steering wheel itself has a nice tilt and telescoping adjustment with some actual paddles here to control the regen braking levels. Your gear selector is right here to control the 1-speed transmission. You have a button here that turns the vehicle on and off. That's where the start-stop button is going to be located. And then in terms of the materials, you can see the dash has the same soft touch injection molded plastic, although it could be a little bit softer. It has kind of like a texturized rubber finish to it. Same thing over here. You have some ambient lighting. I appreciate how Kia is doing just manual, traditional air vents as opposed to the electromechanical ones. You have a volume knob here, some touch sensitive buttons here, and you have your dual zone climate along with your USB-C charging ports, a wireless phone charging pad here. I love how the area here is expanded where you have lots of open space, although it's not really, closed off space, but it's good to kind of store things along with this little floating portion over here. You've got some more buttons for your 360 camera, parking sensors, a little bit more storage here and a nice padded center console. If I open this up, you can see there's a little partition here that actually allows you to close that off. It's not very deep, and that's because again of the design of the floating center stack. Above me, you can see there is a panoramic style sunroof. This has a power retractable and opening shade where it actually will open to vent air. And then these seats are definitely much more aggressively bolstered. So overall, for a car that's designed to be their entry-level EV, it certainly feels like a more upscale environment. And there's also a pretty good amount of space in this vehicle. So I think for those of you who are looking in the EV space for a sedan, this is going to feel pretty roomy, especially considering the size. But let's go ahead and hop into the back seat area and show you guys what that space is like. Now, first of all, with this interesting roofline profile, this is where the door opening to get back here is actually on the larger side. But when I get back here, you can see the seat cushion has this really angled tilt to it, which almost feels like I'm sitting in like a lounge chair or I'm sitting kind of like this, but hey, it's definitely a different feeling. There is a good amount of headroom space because of that carve out here, so that's good. It's a little weird looking on the outside, but it's a functional aspect here on the inside. Material quality is the same soft touch injection molded rubberized plastic, same Syntex fake leather over here, nice and padded here with some nice armrest storage or a grip handle here along with the silver accented door handles. You can see in terms of the floor, it's an all electric platform that's dedicated, so you have a completely flat floor, you have rear seat air vents, no actual heated seats. There's a little bit of storage. You have 2 USB-C charging ports in the seat back along with your additional storage right there. If I want to fold down this armrest, you can see there's your 2 cup holders and you still have adjustable head restraints. I don't have final legroom figures yet, but if I had to estimate, I'd say this car has probably the same legroom space as the Kia K4, the gasoline sedan. So overall, if you plan to use this as a family vehicle, the EV4 will certainly have the space that you need. So obviously the all-electric premium sedan space continues to get more and more crowded. The Tesla Model 3 has always been the go-to vehicle, but it's really nice to see Kia kind of get into that space because this is the brand's first global electric sedan that's available here in America. And if you're looking to get your hands on this vehicle, you're gonna have to wait until early 2026. So the next probably 8 months, which doesn't surprise me. This vehicle is gonna be going on sale in Korea first in the sedan and hatchback configuration, but this is a really nice alternative to something like the Kia EV6 or the Kia Niro EV, which speaking of, if you're trying to figure out how much pricing is going to cost for this vehicle, you're going to have to wait a little bit because, again, Kia doesn't have that number for us just yet. But if we had to speculate here, the EV6 starts at around $42,000. The Niro EV starts at around $39,000. However, there are rumors that this car should be around $35,000, which again would make this the most affordable EV in the lineup. Which explains the reason why this is only available with front-wheel drive and a single motor that essentially comes from the Niro EV. But overall, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of the design of this vehicle. For Redline Reviews here at the 2025 New York International Auto Show, I'm Sofyan Bey.